Hey church, we've been talking about Mary of Bethany this week, and today we will be talking about her third and final encounter with Jesus. Let's go ahead and read John 12, 1-8. 6 days before the Passover began, Jesus went back to Bethany, the town where he raised Lazarus from the dead. They had prepared a supper for Jesus. Martha served, and Lazarus and Mary were among those at the table. Mary picked up an alabaster jar filled with nearly a liter of extremely rare and costly perfume, the purest extract of nard, and she anointed Jesus' feet. Then she wiped them dry with her long hair. And the fragrance of the costly oil filled the house. But Judas, Simon's son, the betrayer, spoke up and said, "What a waste! We could have sold this perfume for a fortune and given the money to the poor." In fact, Judas had no heart for the poor. He only said this because he was a thief and in charge of the money case. He would steal money whenever he wanted from the funds given to support Jesus' ministry. And Jesus said to Judas, "Leave her alone. She has saved it for the time of my burial. You'll always have the poor with you, but you won't always have me." What's the most expensive bottle of perfume or cologne you've ever purchased? Mine is a $50 bottle of Burberry Brit. It's my favorite. It's clean yet sweet. This jar of oil was so expensive it was worth a year's wages. That's probably the most expensive perfume ever. And believe me, I've smelled nard, and this perfume wasn't the most appealing. But to Jesus, that didn't matter. It was the heart behind it. And I think that also reflects the flesh side of us. The bitter scent wasn't too pleasant, but Jesus loved it because she honored him. Jesus is worth way more than any perfume, offering, or praise that we could ever give him. Mary's brother was now alive and sitting at the very same table eating, and she couldn't help but feel compelled to worship Jesus. They now smelled the same. When we worship Jesus, our praise rises to him like incense, a fragrance, and when we spend time with him, we tend to start smelling like him and smell the same. And Mary knew his death was coming. That fragrance would linger with him on his feet until his death. She was preparing him. We're going to read Mark 14:6. Jesus said to them, "Leave her alone. Why are you so critical of this woman? She has honored me with this beautiful act of kindness, for you will always have the poor, whom you can help whenever you want, but you will not always have me. When she poured the fragrant oil over me, she was preparing my body in advance of my burial. She has done all that she could do to honor me. I promise you that as this wonderful gospel spreads all over the world, the story of her lavish devotion to me will be mentioned in memory of her." Her lavish devotion was so important that it had to be mentioned with the gospel. It was good news. It was just as important. Intimacy with Jesus is just as good as his word. We have to have both. We can't just be a Martha and only know it. We have to believe and seek him like Mary in the quiet and stillness. You can't really believe just the word itself if you don't know the author deeply. Therefore, we must make Jesus our treasure.